The first ever Pokemon DLC is just days away, and this video has everything you need to know about the Isle of Armor and Crown Tundra. Let's do it. Yo, what is going on YouTube? It's your boy Dan, aka aDrive. I'm bringing you guys a brand new video today. Today, I'm going to be talking to you guys about the Isle of Armor DLC and a little bit about the Crown Tundra DLC for the upcoming Pokemon Sword and Shield games. In this video, I'm going to break down every single bit of information we have for these new games and what to expect for this DLC, whether it's worth your money up until this point, and everything in between. So be sure to like the video down below, subscribe, get those notifications turned on. You do not want to miss these amazing videos that we have coming out over the next couple weeks leading up to the DLC and beyond. And I hope you guys show some love, of course. Let me know in the comment section below which of these new features you're most excited for, and let's jump into the video. Now, when the Isle of Armor was first announced, we were introduced to a handful of new things. One is Mustard, who actually runs a dojo on the Isle of Armor, which is where we're going to train at the Tower of Two Fists with the Pokemon Kubfu, a brand new mythical Pokemon that we'll obtain. Kubfu evolves into Urshifu, which has two different forms that you can choose. One is Dark in Fighting, the other is Water in Fighting type. There are actually two rivals of the new DLC. There's the Poison type Master Clara, who seems to have what could be a Galarian Dustox on her bow, which actually could be really cool. And then we have the other rival, which is Avery, an aspiring Psychic type Master, who can actually kind of hold a Pokeball in mid-air when he's thinking. Some pretty cool new rivals, and they feature a brand new Pokemon, Galarian Slowpoke, that we actually see at Wedgehurst Station. There's a lot of reason to believe that these two rivals will have some sort of tie into Galarian Slowpoke and its new evolutions, Galarian Slowbro and Galarian Slowking. We're gonna have to wait and see what happens with Slowpoke, but ultimately, I have a good feeling that these two new rivals and their Poison and Psychic typings are gonna be tied into Slowpoke overall. The expansion is gonna add new move tutors, which is something that we lacked so far. We do have an expansive TM and TR system in Sword and Shield, but move tutors are something that can really shake up the competitive metagame. We also know that Kurt is gonna come back, or at least maybe his granddaughter comes back, with Apricorn Balls. Apricorn Balls were a staple in the Generation 2 games in Gold and Silver and the Johto region, and they're actually really cool. We've seen a handful of distributions, and my man Ball Guy likes to hand them out from time to time. It's very possible that we actually get brand new Apricorn Balls that have never been seen before as part of the Isle of Armor DLC. Pokemon also revealed the release of the Experience Charm, which is most likely some sort of a completionist item that is going to increase the amount of experience you receive in battle. Through leaks, we also know that there's another item called the Mark Charm, and the Mark Charm is going to increase the chances of finding a marked Pokemon in the wild. If you're not familiar with what marks are, you can check out my description below where I break them down. They are actually really epic and one of my favorite features in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Earlier, I alluded to the mythical Pokemon Kubfu being your starter essentially in the Isle of Armor, given to you by Mustard. And this Kubfu is going to be training up in the Tower of Two Fists. You have the Tower of Darkness or the Tower of Water, and you can evolve your Kubfu into Urshifu based on one of those two typings. Now, they do have a signature ability called Unseen Fist, and we'll have to wait and see what these typings and what these Pokemon have in store for us, but we do know that they get new Gigantamax forms as well. And speaking of new Gigantamax forms, we know we're going to get a handful of new variants in the Isle of Armor DLC. We know we're going to get Gigantamax Rillaboom, Cinderace, and Inteleon, all featuring a new effect that essentially ignores opponents' abilities, much like Mold Breaker would do. In addition to that, we know that Gigantamax Venusaur and Gigantamax Blastoise have also been confirmed, and they're likely to be released in one of the DLCs as well. It's unseen as to what these Pokemon secondary effects are going to be for the Gigantamax moves, but one could expect that it might have something to do with the pledges. For those who aren't aware, the pledge effects are when you combine the Fire, Water, and Grass pledges together to create secondary effects on the field. Charizard's effect of G-Max Wildfire is actually a secondary effect of the pledges, and there's also the possibility that the Rainbow effect, which increases secondary effects, or the Swamp effect, which slows the opponent's field down, could be the G-Max effects for the various starter Pokemon Blastoise and Venusaur. We do know that the Isle of Armor features 9 different areas on the map, and it's very reminiscent of the Wild area, as there's a free roam camera for both DLCs. This actually encompasses the entire DLC, so there's not going to be areas where you cannot free roam, unless maybe you're inside a building, but it does seem as though they're really going with that open world approach for these DLCs, which is something to be super excited about. We also know that there's a dojo on the Isle of Armor, which is a feature that hasn't been talked about a ton, but this dojo actually features restricted sparring, and actually is going to limit the certain types of Pokemon that you can use, and actually kind of create various conditions at which you can use them. There's still a lot of question marks about that feature, but it could actually be a mainstay in the Isle of Armor DLC. Now, diving into some of the nitty gritty of the DLC, we know that it costs $30 for both DLCs, which is about $15 each. You have to buy them together, and you can actually buy them through the eShop menu or through your Pokemon Sword and Shield game on kind of the main menu there. So that's a really cool option, and a lot of people have complained about the cost of DLCs, but I actually think that this is a much better approach than releasing a third version of Sword and Shield, which would actually cost $60 as opposed to just $30 total. I want to clarify this point one more time for those who are confused. You pay $30 total and you receive both DLCs, essentially making them $15 each. If you're someone who plays both Sword and Shield, you would have to buy both DLCs. If you're someone who pre-orders the game, you'll actually get a couple different outfits, including an exclusive Pikachu and Eevee uniform for your trainer. Also, if you pre-order before August 31st, you'll actually obtain Leon's outfit as well, of course the previous champion of the Galar region. Now, obviously with the expansion, there's going to be a handful of new Pokemon that are returning. Everything from Psyduck to Fletchinder to Horsey and Kingdra, Azumarill and Marill, Zorora, and much, much more. Volcarona is another one that I'm pretty excited about. We still don't know a lot of the Pokemon that are going to be revealed for the DLCs, but it's definitely exciting to think about the possibilities and what new Pokemon we can see. We also know that through the Crown Tundra, there's going to be a handful of new Pokemon, including Regivolt and Regivern, who I made up those names for at this point, and we expect to see these Galarian, Zapdos, Articuno, and Moltres forms as well. It's very likely that we get other new Galarian forms, including new variants, new legendaries, and much, much more as part of these DLCs. My gut feeling is that Pokemon and Nintendo is going to action-pack these DLCs with new Pokemon and new forms as a way to really supplement the content. I feel like it's a super easy way for them to give us content without really having to go too crazy in terms of the actual gameplay, because I'm not exactly expecting these to be very gameplay robust. Now, obviously the Isle of Armor is the focus here, but speaking about the Crown Tundra, we don't really know a ton about it just yet. We do know that it's going to feature the legendary Pokemon Calyrex, which oversees the entire Galar region. Calyrex is a grass and psychic type that is said to have ruled Galar in the ancient times. We also know that the Crown Tundra is going to let players explore dens with other players. Currently, the max rate system allows you to engage with a den, go and battle the Pokemon, but that's really it. The Crown Tundra is supposed to allow us to actually go inside the den, and maybe each den will be customized for the various Pokemon and legendaries that we'll be able to explore. It's likely that not every den is going to be customized, but given the amount of legendaries that have been confirmed for the game, including Entei, Suicune, Raikou, Lugia, Regirock, Reshiram, Zekrom, the Tapus, and beyond, it's likely that these Pokemon have some sort of special feature or some way to engage with them, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get brand new legendaries in general. One other Pokemon that we know confirmed that we are going to be getting for the DLC is Zarude. Now, Zarude was originally tied to the movie Coco, which seems to have been postponed due to the coronavirus pandemic, but luckily for us, I think we're still gonna get the Zarude distribution at some point during the Isle of Armor DLC. The last thing I want to cover in this video is actually leaked content. Through Pokemon Home, data miners were able to find a handful of things and information that actually gives us some insight into the Isle of Armor DLC. Some of those were brand new moves that were revealed, including 21 different moves that we actually covered in a separate video. I'll put the moves on the screen, and I'll also give you guys a link in the description below to the expansive video where I talked about all those different moves. In addition to those 21 moves, the data miners have actually found even more information, perhaps some items related to Curry and the Mark Charm that we had mentioned earlier. It's going to be very interesting to see what new items and opportunities we have in the Isle of Armor DLC, but we do know that there's at least one other ability aside from Urshifu's signature ability, Unseen Fist. I, for one, am excited about the Isle of Armor DLC, and I'm looking forward to all the new Pokemon that we can explore and the brand new open wild area-esque camera that we'll be able to work with for the entire Isle of Armor and Crown Tundra. I would say that I'm most excited for the Isle of Armor at this point, but I'm cautiously optimistic for the Crown Tundra as well. I personally think that there's not going to be a ton of gameplay options in the Isle of Armor, maybe about 3 to 5 hours of actual gameplay, but what's really going to make this DLC awesome, all the new Pokemon, the new forms, the new move tutors, apricorn balls, and everything in between. I've got my fingers crossed for a Battle Frontier as well, but we may have to wait for the Crown Tundra for that. I want to thank you guys for watching this video, and I hope this answered all your questions about the upcoming Pokemon DLC. If you liked the video, be sure to hit that like button down below. Make sure you guys subscribe if you guys are new, and get those notifications turned on. You do not want to miss all these epic videos that we're making for the DLC coming up over the next couple weeks. And of course, let me know in the comments section below what feature you are most excited for this upcoming DLC. I can tell you, I want to see some new Galarian forms because those are always amazing. And I'm really excited for that Mark Charm because I want to get some Mark Shinies, man. I keep hunting them and I've had no luck so far. Thank you guys again. My name is Dan. I also go by aDrive, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
Butterfree, go!